In a recent survey, boys and girls regarded fathers as stronger, larger, and less nurturing than mothers. In most studies, fathers encounter more intense friction with their sons and with their daughters. Studies indicate that fatherhood is as important to men as their career success. Many psychiatrists state that being a good father depends upon the relationship with one's own father.
One teenager reported that being a father means going to work every morning, coming home and hearing problems every night, getting headaches, giving food money to your wife, paying your bills, going to meetings, watching your taxes going up, and then Saturday night, once in a while, going out for a little fun with your wife. That doesn't seem like a very rosy picture of fatherhood. Hi, I'm Joe Feinstein, and this is Teen Talk, the program that asks the question, if being a daddy is something like what I just described, then who in blazes wants to be one? Well, today on Teen Talk, we've invited 4 fathers and their sons to join us in a discussion on the father-son relationship. And as we launch into our discussion, gentlemen, I'd like to know, how do you feel about being a father? Al?
This me, not him.
That's right.
I'm the father. How does it feel being a father?
Emmy Award-winning Teen
difficult
Talk
question.
on fathers and sons.
I guess the best
Host
answer
Joe
I can come up
Feinstein
with,
in
Joe,
a
is
discussion
it's a
with
feeling
4
of pride
fathers
for
and
me,
sons
because,
on the subject of their relationship.
The only thing I can compare it with is like a farmer maybe planting his harvest and nourishing it and watering it and doing the best he can to make it grow properly, and then when it does materialize or mature, he's happy with the results. And I'm very much happy with the results of my harvest as well as my wife's, because she's 50% of this
operation. Yeah, we heard that the wife does count for something.
She certainly does.
Alton, how do you feel about being a father? What does it mean to you?
It's an awesome responsibility. It means being a model, protector, provider, confidant. It means being a lot of things. It's really all there is in a relationship between a father and a son. That's it. You are a lot of things.
Reyes, you have 8 children. What does fatherhood mean to you?
Well, fatherhood is it's a big responsibility, and you're always worried, whether when your children grow up, are they going to behave or keep out of trouble? That's one of my concerns that I've had with my children.
Mm-hmm.
And once they grow up and they keep out of trouble, well, you think you've succeeded in raising a family.
They'll find some new trouble to get into when they become adults. You have 1 child, Gil. How does it feel what does fatherhood mean for you?
It means a great deal. It means witnessing that which is oneself and watching that grow and be nourished and come into maturity, and a great deal of sharing. It is just that kind of warmness that you cannot get in any other kind of relationship.
Did you get that from your father and pass it down to your son?
As a matter of fact, no, Joe. It was just the opposite. My father was quite along in his years when he had me, and I'm the product of double marriages, so I have a lot of half-sisters and brothers and that kind of thing. And there wasn't that closeness, and maybe that's part of the reason why I respect my son and I keep that communication channel open to him.
Mm-hmm. Was your relationship with your dad really good, Al?
Oh no, I had no relationship whatsoever. I didn't like my father very much at all. And as I grew older, I used to be angry with him and upset with him because he wasn't a father. But as I grew older, I realized that he was an ignorant man. I guess he went through the 6th grade in school. Didn't really have a heck of a lot of common sense either.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom and my dad divorced when I was about 9 years old. And as a result of that, my older brother tried to take the place of the father, and he did the best he could, but he went away to the Navy, and my mother did all of it. So I've always tried to do for my sons what I never had. my father.
I can relate to that very much in terms of how I was raised as well. Let's get the youngsters in here. What's some of the problems that you're facing now with your fathers? David, how do you feel about it?
I feel that I'm very expected to face up to what he wants me to do, or to live up to his expectations, which is sometimes easy and sometimes hard. That is the major.
What's the hardest expectation that you feel from him?
I guess succeeding in life, and
Being somebody really...
being somebody, and I know it's going to be a tough road, so.
Well, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
You probably will do it. Lance, what do you gripe about as far as your dad is concerned?
Well, I don't find myself griping the same way at my age right now, but a couple of years ago, my father didn't always agree with the way that I went about certain aspects of life.
Give me a for instance.
Well, he always was behind me as far as an education, but as far as some of the sports that I made some efforts at, he was not behind me. He thought that they were too risky, and we had quite a few arguments about that.
Okay, he's looking at you with a kind of feeling, don't worry, you're bigger than he is today. No problem at all. What about you, Rich?
I see the biggest problem between the relationship between my father and myself is communication, and that's probably due to a huge generation gap. I feel my father doesn't understand the philosophy of a youth today.
About 8 or 9 years ago, I took a sabbatical, and Brad, my son, was about 5 years old, and we had a chance to play in the morning before he went to school in his kindergarten class. We went out bike riding together, skating together, and shopping together. It was really a wonderful time. And now he's going to be 16, and there's very little time for him and I to spend together. There's a distancing which has taken place, and a whole production number. And in addition to that, my research seems to tell me that the distance problem is one that creates a real gap for young people and their fathers. Do you find that that's a particular problem and complaint you have? Al?
Most definitely. I think it hits when you turn 16 and you do start driving and things of that nature, and I wish I could spend more time with my father, you know, as I do right now, but the time I do spend with him is very enjoyable. We have a really fantastic relationship, but it's the going out and doing things, you know, with other people, and I've fallen in love recently, so that takes a lot away because I'm constantly overseeing her, and I'm hardly ever home.
Okay.
And just one more thing. It's things that they, you know, parents do, like curfews and stuff like that. I dislike them, but I can understand them. I'm sure I'll do them when I'm a parent as well, because it's you know, they're worried about us and they want you home at a particular hour and stuff, because then when we're 18, you know, things start even you know, spreading out further.
Okay.
Because we start moving out. And
Okay.
things.
Do you have a complaint with your dad about the distance factor?
Well, distance isn't really the problem. I see more as time. I see time as a greater problem. I don't have much time to spend with my dad or anybody else in the family. I'm quite busy with my studies and my musical endeavors. And so, but distance, I see, can be a problem in many father-son relationships.
Has it been for you, David?
Yes, it has, but in our household, everybody is running around. Everybody has things. Everybody has things to do, so there isn't much time for he and I to get together and go out and do
Do
things.
you ask him for some time? Do you say, Dad, I'd like to have some of your time now?
Occasionally, but not very often, because I know how busy he is, And plus, I have things to do of my own anyway.
When you hear him say that, what happens to you, Elton?
I feel as though I'm missing out on a great opportunity that probably will not happen again, and I feel very badly about that. But I think, as he expressed, we recognize there are competing and conflicting demands in society, and we have to live with that, and we've learned to adjust to that.
And what about you, Lance? Are there times when Dad is just not there for you?
No, my father's always been there all the time. Unfortunately, I guess for me, I never really took advantage of all the time that he was there. I guess with my schedule, I've always had other people to talk with, and unfortunately, I guess I didn't always speak with my father. But
Joe,
we
can I-
always
Excuse me, go ahead. Lance,
we
I'm
always had a good rapport, and I could tell my father just about anything, and he understands.
You do understand, Gil?
Oh, yes. I think we do take advantage of the time that we have available to ourselves. There is a drifting apart as a youngster goes through adolescence and becomes a mid-teenager. But I found out that as the youngster grows up and becomes older, there's a coming together, a convergence. And it's that kind of an experience which enriches the relationship. And I'm pleased to hear that I was always available, because sometimes you have the feeling within that you're not there when a youngster needs you. And I'm glad, really.
Can I inject something, Joe?
Sure, go ahead.
Maybe people haven't thought about it, but I've never had a 9-to-5 job. I've always been a self-employed person. And I've always had the worry that, am I with my children too much? You know, since they were born, I was always with them, I mean, constantly. I would tell my wife, I'd say, you know, I'm very fortunate because I'm able to spend more time with my children than any normal man can. And so it did worry me sometimes. So I was kind of happy to see them reach 15 and 16 so that they could spread their wings and get out a little bit and have their own friends, because I didn't, and luckily for me, I guess I can say this, they still enjoy, you know, being with Dad when time rolls around. But I want them to go out and be with other people and do other things.
I still enjoy being with Brad, too, and it's like I'll talk with him, but the answers are so curt and they're so clipped. And his answer is a yes or a no, and there's no continuation of anything. So what I'm attempting to do is talk about how I feel and what's going on within me, rather than ask him questions. I find that if I'll just share myself with him, it'll work a little bit better. Do you share yourself with your father, Richard?
Truthfully, no. I find it difficult, really, in some situations. I usually keep to myself a lot.
You do keep to yourself. And do you keep to yourself too, David?
Sometimes, but not very often. We're mostly very open. I mean, when it comes to a subject, we'll discuss it.
What's something you can't talk about with your father? You can't talk about it with us either.
Probably a specific problem I have that the problem that I would have that I really wouldn't want to talk about, or else I would be embarrassed to talk to him about.
Mm-hmm. There are topics you are embarrassed about.
Oh, to talk to him about.
You too, Al?
There are there are very few topics that I have trouble talking to Dad about. I ask him for advice. I take his advice, but not always. I can admit to that. Sometimes I like to go on and do my own thing. Mm-hmm. But I have a very open relationship with my father. I can discuss things with him.
I think it took me forever to realize that my father was a man with sensations and feelings and sensitivities. It was very difficult for me to understand that as he got up in the morning and went to work and came home from work and went to sleep and did his number that way. And I'm just wondering, gentlemen, you younger gentlemen, can you see your fathers as men? Lance, can you see that?
Well, Mr. Feinstein, when I was younger, I thought it was very important that my father understand my feelings and to be sensitive to those feelings. But as I'm getting older, I find myself wanting my father to be harder and stronger. And with dealing with some of my problems, I want a strong support. I don't want a weak person to talk to. I want someone that will understand and really sympathize and empathize with my position. And I find that he's doing that, and that's a good sign, at least that I feel.
The guy is really growing up right before
He's growing
your
up
very
with me.
eyes.
He's growing up
With
with
you,
me,
right before. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Al, can you see your dad, I mean, actor and all the other different things that he does, can you see him as a man with his own frustrations?
Oh, most definitely, because I'm in the house with him when he has his frustrations and things of that nature. He's a very caring person, but yet he can have his rough times and, you know, things like that. But I can definitely see him in
Richard,
his
your
feelings.
dad has been a father now 8 different times. Where are you in that whole thing?
Well, not until recently not until now I might begin to see my father as a man with feelings. Before, my father was just almost a faceless figure that I would see when he'd come home from work, and then he really wouldn't have the time. But now I'm beginning to realize he's beginning to develop as a person in front of my eyes. I can see him as I'm sure I'm beginning to develop in front of him, and I see him more as a person, as a human being, as just a figure, a faceless man.
Gil, Lance wants you to be strong for him right now. How do you maintain being strong and at the same time show the physical affection? Do you show him a lot of physical affection?
Whenever he lets me take him around, but
Yeah.
As you mentioned earlier, he's bigger than I am, so I'm a little reluctant to
It's
take
hard,
him.
you know, grabbing up there kind of thing.
But I think it's important for me to be there when he needs me. I think it's important for me to share my value system with him and not impose a value set on him. That is the psychological support.
Alton, he's getting older. How do you show him that you love him and that you care?
I try to give him advice on problem-solving techniques so that he can be his own person, make his own decisions, and be responsible for those decisions that he makes. And I give him an opportunity to fail and not to criticize him for failure, because from the failures you learn how to develop successes, and we deal with most of our problems in that manner.
Is kissing Al all right, Al?
Oh, yes, are you kidding? As long as he doesn't knock me down.
Or have herpes.
This young man still kisses me goodnight before he goes to bed. I really
Really?
appreciate that, yeah.
You love that?
I love it. I love him.
I love
I
him.
love my oldest, my 19-year-old, and my 9-year-old. Not to mention my wife, my wonderful wife. It's a partnership.
It is.
We're not just dads by ourselves. We got moms, too, that do their half.
Reyes, what would you like to share with Richard now that you've heard a number of his feelings? Talk to him.
I would like to have a little better communication than what we
Tell
have
him.
had than what we've had in the past, and I try to bring him up as I was brought up. Even though I was small when my father passed away, but I still remember how strict he was with me, and now I realize that he meant well. And this I try to do with Richard.
Richard, tell your dad something, Nate.
I try to please my father, although a lot of my views aren't very pleasing to him. But then again, he has to realize that I'm an individual, and he has to learn to accept me as an individual.
I hear you. I hear you. That's a nice request that he's asking from you, Dad. Very important request. Lance, can you talk to your dad for just a second and tell him what he really means to you?
Well, Dad, you've been a guiding figure throughout my life, and I appreciate the times that we've spent. Now that I'm growing up, I just want to know and tell you that I'm not going to forget you, and I'm not going to lock you up and throw the key away. I'll take care of
You
it.
better not.
I'll take care of it.
See how strong he's getting already?
Yes,
You
I-
better not, he says. What would you like to say to David Alton?
David, the future is all yours. You're a fine young man, and I really enjoy you as a person. I have a great deal of faith in you and the belief in the future that you will ultimately have.
That was lovely.
Right.
David, would you like to say something back to your dad?
I'd like to say thank you for all your advice, even though, as Al said, I may not take it sometimes, but I do learn. And I would like to expect more of it, because most of it is true.
My father and I ended our relationship on a very unhappy and discordant note. It took fully 3 months before I realized that I hadn't said I loved him before he died. And it seems to me that one of the most important things is that you mustn't end your relationship in that kind of way. Tell your parents, tell your fathers how much that they mean to you. Tell them that you love them. It's really important that these kinds of relationships always go quite well. I'd like you all to sit down perhaps and read some really interesting books. One, How to Father by Fitzhugh Dotson, and Father Power by Dr. Henry Biller. Panel, you've been fantastic. I really appreciated having you all here today. This is Joe Feinstein for Teen Talk saying, I'll see you soon.